Hey, good night again, my people. What's up? Hope and trust that all is going well. Today is what? Friday? Friday, the 27th day of March, 2026, and the time right now is 9:04 p.m. And I said in my earlier recording that I was going to do a second recording as to some happenings coming out of the parliament today. They were debating a bill about what's the name of the ministry up there? I think it is Creative Industries or whatever it is. The one that deals with One Nation and Carnival and so. And they got kind of tested. Now, apparently, in support of his contribution, the leader of the opposition, that is Jamal Pringle, made reference to a document. Now, this document has been in circulation for at least 2 weeks now, because I heard Serpent and them reading it on a program maybe about 2 weeks ago, 2 Saturdays ago, and I got it. But to be honest with you, I didn't even get into it because the thing is, Antigua is such a case that I didn't even get into it. But having heard the debate today, I got in touch with one of my sources, and I asked them to send it to me again, and I have it. This is a document I believe Pringle was quoting from. He had it on his phone. The document is on the Ministry of Education, Sports and Creative Industries, Open Road, blah, blah, blah. The 6th of March, 2026, addressed to the Honorable Gaston Brown, Prime Minister, Office of the Prime Minister. And it's a 6-page document, and it is signed by a Sharon Stevens, Miss Permanent Secretary, and is copied to a number of people. The Honorable Darrell Matthew, Chairman of the Antigua and Barbuda Public Service Commission, Secretary to the Cabinet, Chief Establishment Officer, Financial Secretary, Deputy Financial Secretary, Accountant General, Deputy Accountant General, Principal Assistant Secretary. These are all the persons who was copied to. And I think that this particular permanent secretary was reassigned before this letter became public. You make a decision for yourself whether or not you believe they're tied together. And then hence came the bill. So the leader of the opposition in his presentation was making reference to this document. It's a legitimate document. And he was reading from his phone. Now apparently, not apparently, from what my understanding is, listening to Parliament over the years, the rule is that if you're going to make reference to a document, you ought to have given it to the speaker or the clerk, and or you yourself would have made copies to circulate among the house so that persons could follow you as you're going. That is a rule. However, it is the accepted precedence. It is the accepted practice that if you're making reference to a document, you read it, somebody speaks about it, or the speaker would tell you, make sure you make that document available to the clerk so that copies could be made, blah, blah, blah. And that goes on. I mean, I've heard Sir Gerald with that many a time. That's standard. That is nothing new. So, as he was making his presentation, I believe, what's his name? The guy from First St. Peter, Turner raised a point of objection about that. And Pringle rightly drew to the speaker's attention what the precedent was. From my observation of the recording, from my observation of watching it, um, you could see that the speaker was in a bind, and he tried to dance around, and Pringle was on top of his game. Until eventually, I believe Mulwin got up and said, "Oh, he's reading his presentation." To my mind, those on the government benches was doing everything for him not to refer to the document that I'm sure that they would have seen the document already. Because again, as I said, I know it was being read, it was read at least 2 weeks ago on the radio. It was circulated. I got it before. I mean, I just deleted it. I didn't have no time for the ignorance. But then having saw what happened today, I went back and I got it again. For my friends in there who have my contacts, if you want, I could share it with you. I don't have a problem with that. It's nothing to hide. It is what it is. And it doesn't look good on the government. It doesn't look good on the government. If you were to read the document, you can only come away with one possible position. Now, persons who are friends to the person might want to say certain things behind their back. But when you read what the lady's saying, there's only one thing you can come up with. There's only one thing you come up with. You know what I mean? And I now see why some comrades, let me put it that way. I now see why some comrades, when they're part of other organizations, you hear ignorance from them. Like you can make up a financials without any receipts. Now I'm understanding where that ignorant statement come from. Now I'm understanding that. You know? I think that, what's his name? Pringle was justified in reacting how he reacted, because it is clear, based on the precedent, that he ought to have been allowed to continue making reference to the document. Because, well, I can't say the truth. I'm not going to say it's a lie, it's true. I'm not going to debate on that. I'm saying the document exists. The document is already in the public. So for them to behave as if we don't know, that's crap. That is crap, in my opinion. That is crap. And then you hear I just looked at the speaker and I just shook my head. You know what I mean? I just shook my head. But I have to chide the leader opposition in one sense. And as I went through the recording, I believe it was the last sentence he spoke before he left the chamber. Because when I was listening on the radio at the time, and the person who was with me, I said to the person, he gone. I knew he gone. He went. He would have gone. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you just have to tell people as it is. Oh, who the hell is the speaker to tell people about your bordering on the line or be rude? Big people can rude. You can rude. Give me a break. I don't even know if you all have children in your household. Like y'all, look, I don't want to go down certain roads now. Because it's not for want of cattle. Sorry, it's not for want of tongue. Why cattle can't talk now, as old people say now. I want to come out in the public and chat ton of bullshit to people. And in our domain, I run them. In your domain, I can't run it. But just no one for certain other things at this point in time. Who the hell is you to be talking about your bordering and being rude? Big people get rude. Big people say what on their mind. You have the right to say what on their mind. Big people say what on their mind. Bullshit me here at all. But anyway, back to Pringle, and we needed child Pringle. I believe it was the last sentence where Pringle said, you, the speaker, should know better. You need to be chided for that, Pringle. What speaker should know better? What speaker should know better, Pringle? You really live in Antigua? You know what takes place in Antigua? What stupidness are talking about, Pringle? Both speakers should know better. That speaker there? Well, just give me a break, Pringle. You just need to get the song right, see? About speaker should know better. Speaker should know better. You don't live in Antigua, Pringle. Take care, my people. Bless up.